Hey, Eagle fans! Your Statesboro Walmart is your one-stop shop for all your Georgia Southern football and game day needs. Pick up your GSU sports gear here. We have t-shirts, hats, tote bags, koozies, stadium bleacher seats, car spirit flags, wall pennants, beads, and more right here at the best prices in town. Also, don't forget we can handle all of your tailgating needs with our great food trays, baked goods, and fresh, high-quality meat, seafood, and chicken.
Walmart. Save money. Live better. Walmart.
On this week's show, the Georgia Southern baseball team opens up the season with a 3-game series against Bethune Cookman and a single game with Georgia Tech. We'll have highlights and also check in with the Georgia Southern basketball team. All that and more as we welcome you inside the Eagles Nest. And welcome inside the Eagles Nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor, Georgia Southern beat writer, prep sports writer. Hopefully that will not still continue for you too much longer, but for right now, he's working double time. And Mike, speaking of double time, we have basketball and baseball. This is a time where things overlap. Let's begin with the baseball team. Georgia Southern starts the season off with a 3-game sweep over a Bethune-Cookman team who's used to going to the regionals. A lot of people might think, oh, it's just Bethune. They're a pretty good team. Georgia Southern beats them. 3-game sweep. Pitching was pretty strong. Hitting looked pretty good. And then they took on Georgia Tech before a pretty good crowd considering how cold it was. Eagles had it in their hands, let it slip away late.
Well, looking at Georgia Southern this season, you have to be inspired by what you've seen in 4 games so far. Evan Challenger absolutely stealing the show in the season opener. He comes back after missing all of 2014 with Tommy John surgery. He goes 5 1/3 innings, very strong, gets the win. Then Jason Richmond making 2 more appearances over the weekend, 1 more against Georgia Tech, well on his way to defending his crown as the nation's appearances leader from last year. The Georgia Tech game, a 7-4 loss. A lot closer than that score might indicate. If Georgia Southern makes 1 more pitch in the 6th inning, maybe that grand slam doesn't go out and maybe Georgia Southern hangs on for the win. But the Eagles have to like what they've seen so far. A few more hits coming in, driving in a few more runners, not stranding so many. That's going to be key moving forward as they now face a very good West Virginia team. Usually those teams from the north, they're still a little groggy, not used to being outdoors this early, but they went down and took 2 out of 3 from perennial power Clemson last weekend.
All right, well, let's get out and see how Georgia Southern did in their 3-game series against Bethune and then taking on Georgia Tech. Season opener Friday for the Georgia Southern baseball team hosting Bethune-Cookman. A welcome return for lefty Evan Challenger, who'd go 5 1/3, allowing only 2 hits, no walks, and striking out 6. Up 2-0 in the 5th inning. Hunter Thomas takes this one up, and away to right. The solo shot made it 3-0 Eagles. The Georgia Southern bullpen would do the rest. Jason Richmond with 4 strikeouts in 1 2/3 innings of relief. Trip Shepard then with the strikeout himself. And Chris Brown would close the door, keeping the Bethune bats cold. Georgia Southern wins Game 1 by a final of 3-0. Could the Eagles continue to keep the visitor bats frozen on Saturday? Looked that way early on as Adam Kelly would strike out the side here in the 1st inning. Trouble would come, though, to Kelly in the 2nd. He'd walk 2, hit 1, and give up a pair of hits, including this triple by Jake Welch. Bethune takes a 4-0 lead. The Eagles come back, though, to score 1 in their half of the inning. Then here in the 3rd, it's back-to-back singles by Cody Adams, Aaron Mizell, and Chase Griffin. Griffins makes it 4-2. Will Hudgens then with the ground ball to short. No play here, and it's 4-3. The lead cut to 1. Next up, Hunter Thomas with the routine grounder to second. This one booted. 2-run score. The Eagles take a 5-4 lead and would go on to win 12-8. So we now move ahead to Game 3. The Eagles looking for the sweep. On the mound, lefty Connor Simmons, a solid outing. 4 innings, only 2 hits allowed, striking out 3. The Eagles are up for 7 in the 2nd. Dalton Busby beats the throw to first, which is booted. Will Hudgens scores. Spencer Duffy then singles into left, which brings home Hunter Thomas, and it's 2-0. More to come as Cody Adams singles into right. Jordan Howard scores to make it 4-0. Next, after an Aaron Mizell RBI, Chase Griffin's fly ball will fall for a double. Cody Adams comes home to make it 6-0. And finally, Ryan Cleveland, the double to right center. Bethune makes it interesting, but the Eagles hold on to win 9-8. Georgia Southern baseball hosting Georgia Tech Tuesday night. A moment of silence before the game in recognition of the passing of Eagle great Adrian Peterson's son AJ. As for the game, on the mound, Ryan Frederick here with the strikeout, trying to get out of damage in the second. The Yellow Jackets eventually push through a run thanks to the nice bunt by Wade Bailey. Brandon Gold scores 1-0 Georgia Tech. Jason Richmond in relief. He promptly picks off the runner at first. Dalton Busby applying the tag for out number 3. Richmond would go on to pitch 2 1/3 innings, allowing only 1 hit, no runs, and struck out 3. The Eagles then, with a little target practice off pitcher Ben Schneiderjans, this one by Will Hudgens off his right foot for a single. The next batter, Hunter Thomas, promptly plants this one off his left foot. Schneiderjans finding some humor amid the pain. He later load the bases for Spencer Duffy, who lofts the fly ball to right. It will fall in, 2-run score, and it's 2-1 Georgia Southern. Next up, Jordan Howard, and he singles past second. Another run comes home, and the Eagle lead extended to 3-1. They tack on another in the 6th as Duffy singles to right, brings in Hunter Thomas. It's 4-1 Georgia Southern. Unfortunately, the Yellow Jackets take the lead on a single swing of the bat by Kel Johnson. The grand slam off the scoreboard gave Georgia Tech a 5-4 lead, and they'd go on to win by a final of 7-4.
With more than 100 years of experience under one roof, Complete Car Care on 207 Northside Drive can do it all for your car or truck, gas or diesel, even hybrids, motors, tune-ups, front end, air conditioning, transmissions, electrical. Complete Car Care does it all. When others say no, Complete Car Care says yes. Come see what Michael and his team can do for you at Complete Car Care, 207 Northside Drive.
Well, Mike, moving on to the indoors where it's nice and warm, the Georgia Southern basketball team continues to be red hot, at least on the guys' side of things, going on the road this past Saturday, picked up a big victory, and then a big doubleheader going on against Troy on Thursday evening.
And we're deep in the season now, but Georgia Southern, the men's team, is showing something that we haven't seen from them so far this year. We've seen them drop a couple of close games, but on the road at Little Rock, they give up a big lead in the second half. They get down big. We hadn't seen the Eagles in that situation so far this season, but they get up off the mat, erase a 9-point lead or 9-point deficit for them with about 3 minutes to go. And their Achilles heel the last couple of weeks, free throw shooting, who would have thought that would save them 3 with a second left to get it to overtime? Then the Eagles managed to get a few more in the extra period to earn the win, stay on top of the Sun Belt standings.
All right, well, let's get out and see how the Eagles did against Troy. Georgia Southern hosting Troy in a doubleheader Thursday evening at Hanner Fieldhouse. The Eagles knocking down 13 three-pointers in the game, including this one by Trelane English-Lurie. Later, the Eagles go inside to Patrice Butler. She'd have 12 points, one of 5 Eagles in double figures. A big night for Anna Claire Knight. 2 of her 17. Everything paling in comparison to Ashley Beverly Kelly, who finished with a career-high 46, the most ever scored against an Eagle team. Knight then tries to answer. Next, Angel McGowan drives 2 of her 23. Back to Anna Claire. She buries the pull-up jumper. Eagles by 5. And then off the steal, McGowan, the layup. Eagles up 38-28. Alexis Sams, a career-best 6 three-pointers, good for 18 points. This one going back and forth throughout, with the Lady Trojans able to hold on, winning in overtime 99-93. The Georgia Southern men with a chance at the top spot in the conference, hosting Troy, who came in 4-11 in league play. Early off the miss, Kyle Doyle with the putback. Next, Curtis Diamond drives in for the layup. And then Eric Ferguson penetrating. He'll get the friendly roll. Eagles by 2. Troy responds. Inside they go to Kevin Thomas, 2 of his 11. Again, back come the Eagles. Doyle driving hard for 2 more. And then Jelani Hewitt left alone for 3. Trent Wiedemann adds a 3 moments later, but the Eagles only 7 of 28 from behind the arc. Troy fights back before the half. Musa Abdul Alim, 3 of his 25. Troy by 3 at the break. Second half, Hewitt on the break to Matias for the layup. Next, Hewitt to Mike Hughes for 3 of his team-high 14 points. The 2 hook up again moments later. Hughes gives the Eagles a 6-point lead. Wiedemann then spots a cutting Jake Alsmiller, the lead to 6 again. Hewitt only 3 of 19 shooting, but here he hits another 3. Wouldn't be enough though. John Walton inside for 2, and Troy does it again, winning 65-62. And Mike, finally, before we go, the Georgia Southern softball team hosting a tournament this past weekend, and now due to the weather up in the north, they are hosting one coming up this weekend. Let's get out and see how they did this past weekend. The Georgia Southern softball team opening up their home schedule, hosting the Eagle Classic after beating Binghamton 21-12 in the opener. The Eagles taking on Campbell. Alicia Mann trying to leg out the triple. She slides in safely, but the Eagles unable to bring her in. Next inning, Emily Snyder, the single up the middle, trying to start a rally. That puts Ryan McGuire on third, and she'd come in to score on this deep fly ball to center. It wouldn't be enough though. GSU falls 7-6. On Saturday, the Eagles drop a 6-3 decision to Boston College, a 4-2 loss to Tennessee Tech. The Eagles and Golden Eagles of Tennessee Tech meet again in the finale on Sunday, down 2-0. Morgan Robinson the single. Then it's Rowan McGuire quickly tying the game, sending this one up and away to right center as we are tied at 2-all. That wouldn't last long as Angie Sakamoto with the double down the line. It's 3-2. Golden Eagles. GSU tries to respond. Alicia Mann beats out the infield hit. She'd eventually move over to third and then come in to score on the single to right by Morgan Robinson, and we're tied at 3-all. Tennessee Tech again comes back. Here, the error at short allows Angie Sakamoto to score. It's 5-3 Golden Eagles. Georgia Southern again not quitting. Lindsey Wilcox, the single to right. That would be followed by A.J. Hamilton with the single to center. And then it's Alicia Mann with the RBI single into right. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be enough though. Georgia Southern falls 5-4. All right, well, that'll wrap things up. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.